Good morning, everyone. We are on day 2 of summer reading. And before we get started and I even read today's story, I want to show you how our caterpillars are doing. And you're going to look and see that they're not caterpillars. Now, they're not fuzzy little caterpillars crawling around anymore. Our baby caterpillars have crawled up to the top, attached themselves, and have started making their chrysalis, or you guys also know their cocoons, okay? They're all in different kind of phases and different things, but they're getting better and better. We had one, unfortunately, fall off from the top, and he's laying down in the bottom in the middle. So because he's down there, I don't know whether or not he'll become a caterpillar or not. Or not a caterpillar, a butterfly or not. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with him. But today we're still going to talk about some bugs, but Mrs. V doesn't like those weird, creepy, scary ones. I like the pretty, fun ones. So we're going to do a little bit about ladybugs today. So today we're going to read The Very Lazy Ladybug. So let's go ahead and get started. The Very Lazy Ladybug by Isabel Finn. It's illustrated by Jack Tickle. Now, do you remember? When it says by, that means who wrote the words. Illustrated is our big word. That means they draw the pictures. This is a story of a very lazy ladybug. She likes to sleep all day. And all night. And because she slept all day and all night, this lazy ladybug didn't know how to fly. One day, the lazy ladybug wanted to sleep somewhere else. But what could she do if she couldn't fly? Then the lazy ladybug had a very good idea. When Kangaroo bounced by, she hopped into her pouch. Do you see her down there? Look at that. But the kangaroo liked to jump. I can't sleep in here, cried the lazy ladybug. It's far too bumpy. So when Tiger passed by, she hopped onto his back. Do you see her? There she is. But the tiger liked to roar. I can't sleep here, said lazy ladybug. It's far too noisy. So when Crocodile swam by, she hopped onto his tail. You see? She's way over there. But the crocodile liked to swish his tail in the water. I can't sleep here, said the lazy ladybug. I'll fall into the river. So when the monkey swung by, she hopped onto her head. Do you see her? Oh, there she is. But the monkey liked to swing from branch to branch. I can't sleep here, said the lazy ladybug. I'm feeling dizzy. So when a bear ambled by, she hopped into his ear. the bear like to scratch. I can't sleep here. He'll never sit still. So when a tortoise plodded by, she hopped onto her shell. But the tortoise liked to snooze in the sun. I can't sleep here, said Lazy Ladybug. It's far too hot. So when an elephant trundled by, she hopped onto his trunk. At last, said the Lazy Ladybug, I found someone who doesn't jump or roar or swish his tail or swing or scratch or snooze. But at that very moment, the elephant sneezed, ha-choo! And poor old Lazy Ladybug had to fly at last. The end. Silly Lazy Ladybug. She couldn't find where she wanted to stay, huh? So today we're going to make our own ladybug hat. So go ahead and get out in your kit. You should have a black piece of paper, a red piece of paper, and then either yellow or green piece of paper. And you're going to need either glue. I'm going to set you down here for a second. You're either going to need some glue or a glue stick. Mrs. V is going to use her glue stick today. But first, you're going to need some scissors, okay? So I went ahead and I started cutting already out my pieces. Now, you're going to have either on your green or yellow, once you cut them out, you'll have a bunch of little, looks like little boots, okay? I already cut mine out. You're going to see lines on your paper. On your red half piece of paper, you're going to have 2 half circles, okay? What do you think these are going to be? Our wings, yes, okay? Now, on your big black piece of paper, when you first look at it, it's going to look like there's nothing on it. But if you look really, really closely, and I don't know if I can show you in the camera or not, but if you look, yeah, it's not going to probably show very good. But on there, when you look at it, you're going to see actually black lines. So you're going to have to use your really good eyes to see. Now, I want you to go ahead and just start cutting everything out, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and start cutting some too. On your black piece of paper, in the little parts, you're going to have little pieces for antennas and legs. So you're going to have a lot of little ones. So there's some little pieces and some circles. What do you think our little black circles are going to get used for? Our spots, right? Because ladybugs have spots. So there's a lot of little cutting, and then there's some of them that are big pieces of cutting. So if you need some help, you might need to ask, you know, mom or dad or grandma and grandpa or big brother, big sister, auntie, whoever's with you today, okay, for a little bit of help. However, I don't want them doing all the cutting for you, because you need to practice your scissor skills too, okay? So Mrs. V is going to sit here and finish her cutting. So this is my last piece on my black one. And again, I started cutting before we started today, so I'll finish before you, but that's okay. And once you have your pieces, go ahead and set them aside. And I'm going to finish cutting my red one here. And try your best to stay on the black line, okay? And remember, if you're new to using scissors, we always open and shut. Our thumb goes on top, and we point the scissors away from us. And when we're using this hand to help move and guide the paper, make sure you watch out for your fingers, okay? Especially when you get to some of those littler pieces. Now, what I'd like you to do, go ahead and see Mrs. V started ahead. So I'm already done cutting all my pieces out. So go ahead and pause our video and come back when you have all your pieces cut, okay? I'll wait for you. Welcome back. So if you're starting again, you should have all your pieces. So what you should have is 2 red half circles, see, circle, cut in half. You should have a long black strip and another black strip that's got a kind of a circle in the middle. You should have 2 of these, kind of a little bit longer. These are gonna be our antennas. And I showed you these ones before, a bunch of little black ones. And then our black circles for our spots. And then our boots. And again, my boots are yellow, yours might be yellow or they might be green, okay? Now, if you don't have any of these pieces, look at your scraps and see whether or not you didn't miss anything. I could see if you accidentally missed some of the little pieces on the black piece of paper because it's a little bit harder to see, okay? So if you're still missing some and you don't have all of your pieces, pause our video and go find them and cut them. All right, so the first piece we're gonna use is our long, we're gonna use our long guy here that has kind of the circle, okay? And Mrs. V's gonna use her glue stick. So I'm gonna take my lid off. Now you can use regular glue, but if you use regular glue, you're only gonna need a tiny little dot of each one. You don't need a whole lot, okay? And you'll have to wait a little bit longer for your ladybug hat to dry, okay? Then we're gonna take our red circles and we're gonna put a little bit of glue, and I'm gonna see if I can do it on the side here for you. Not in our circle, but right next to it. So we'll put a little bit of glue here. And then we're gonna stick our little wing like that. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right. Now we have our wings, okay? Then I'm gonna take my little black circles and I'm gonna put my spots all over my red wings. And you can put these wherever you want. You can spread them out, you can have them all together, however you want yours to look, okay? Mrs. V's gonna stick hers on here. And there should be, if you wanna make them even, the same number of spots on each side, there should be 3 for each side. Mrs. V wants to move this one a little bit. It's not dry yet, so I can move. Okay? So now, I put my spots on there. Okay? We're gonna kind of push them down a little bit. And then, we're actually going to flip it over. Okay? Because what we want now is we're going to have our antenna. So our 2 longer pieces, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of glue on the end of them, just on the one end, just a little bit on the end. You can kind of see I only go a little bit, okay? And we're gonna put it like this. And you're gonna push it down, okay? You can also do a little bit of glue right here and then put it on there and push it down. Okay, so now we have those. And we're gonna do the same kind of thing for our legs, okay? But they're gonna go kind of a little different. So I want you to count out 3 legs. 1, 2, 3. Okay, put your other ones to the side. And we're just gonna work on one side at a time, okay? So whichever side you want, pick one side, and you're gonna do just like we did up here, but down here. So Mrs. V is gonna put a little bit of glue. Ooh, excuse We'll put a little bit of glue. You want that first one kind of really close to the edge, okay? So we have enough room for all three of them to kind of fit in there, okay? And push it down. The next one I'm going to do with it sitting on the table here, so I can hold it a little bit better. Then you're going to take your other three legs and put them on the other side. Okay, so now we've got our legs. Now, get your boots. And our ladybug wears boots. So you can decide if you want your boots to go this way or if you want them to go this way. That's up to you, okay? But you're going to put a little bit of glue on the end of your leg. Roll my and stick your boot on there. Okay? You're going to do that for each one of your legs. Sorry, I realized when I'm putting my glue on, I'm shaking the table a little bit, which is shaking the camera. So you guys might be rocking and rolling at the moment. Okay? We'll do the same thing for all of our legs. Now again, if you're using regular glue, make sure you're only putting just a little dot, okay? All right. So now Mrs. V is just going to kind of use her fingers and push them all down. Make sure they're staying good and stuck. Now we're going to flip it back over. Oh boy, it's looking better and better. And you know what? Mrs. V kind of made a mistake. See how our legs are showing? You can have them that way, or if your glue is not done yet, you can take them off and put them this way so you can't see the leg. Mrs. V's gonna fix hers, but if yours is good and stuck, you can leave them just like this too. They look just fine. But I don't know, Mrs. V's might already be too dry. Yep, they're too dry, so Mrs. V's just gonna leave them the way they are. Sometimes if you make a mistake, when you're doing crafts and projects and coloring and whatever else, sometimes Mrs. V likes to call it a happy mistake. Even though it's a mistake and maybe not exactly the way you were planning on doing it, it turns out still just fine. See, he looks okay yet, even though that's not how I really wanted it to look. All right, so what pieces do we have left? Oh, we have this long guy, and if you guys have seen, you have, let's see if I can hold them, googly eyes. Now, these googly eyes you do not need to glue. They have, if I can get them off, that would be, they have a little piece of paper that you can peel off the back that makes them like a sticker, okay? Maybe, Mrs. V's. This one, I think the paper already came off and it's not sticky. But this one here, you can see, has a piece of paper. You can peel it off and then it's sticky. So then I don't have to glue my eyeballs on. I can just peel off the sticker. I'm going to see if my other one's going to work here. I don't think this one does. It doesn't want to come off. So this one might have already come off. Ooh, wait, maybe. So some of yours might be really hard to get off. Oh, look at that, guys. I think I'm getting it. So if you can't get it at first, keep trying, because look, Mrs. V's one was super easy, but then my other one was super hard. So it did come off, okay? But if you can't get it off or it already came off and it's not sticky, just use your glue. But now, we'll stick them like that. Now, Mrs. V has what's called a paint pen. you guys can try to see. I didn't have enough to send everybody one home with your kits, okay? So I apologize for that. I didn't have quite enough. But it's a little like, almost like a marker, and I can make a little white line here. So you guys can see, some of you might have some of these at home. Maybe mom or grandma or auntie have one. If not, you can just draw with, like, sometimes yellow will show up real good and things like that, okay? Or if you want to get really creative, you could take your glue and put a bead of glue, and then if you have some glitter, you can sprinkle the glitter on there and let it dry, and then your smiley face would be glittery. So that's an option, okay? So now, look at that. We have our ladybug. But how are we going to make this into a hat? I bet that's where this last piece comes into play, right? Okay, so you're going to take your last piece, and I'll put a little bit of glue on mine here, just on the end, okay? Whoop, I got glue on my table. Just on the end here, and we'll put it on this end, right here where it lines up, just like that, okay? You're gonna want to push it down. Now, if you use regular glue, you're going to want to leave it and let it dry for a little